All right, we just wrapped up week 13 in the NFL, and that means we are officially into the month of December, heading into the final week of buys, the home stretch of the NFL season. And it looks like the playoff picture is starting to round out into shape. I think we know the 7 teams that we're going to have in the AFC, NFC a little bit more jumbled up there, but I'm going to go through, I'm ranking all 32 teams, teams 1 through 32. I'm watching 95% of all these games. I'm taking notes, keeping tabs, ranking everybody for you. And remember, these are the power rankings, not the standings. Let's hop on into it with my bottom tier teams, teams 32 through 23. Okay, the Giants at the bottom, even though I did think they looked a little bit better with Drew Lock at quarterback. Jacksonville at 31. What a terrible hit Trevor Lawrence had to take. I feel bad for him. New England, that team is so bad, and Gerard Mayo is a terrible head coach, but Drake May is good, and you got to feel good if you're New England. Las Vegas, I don't know if Antonio Pierce is a good coach. I don't think he is, but he sure as hell gets a good performance against the Chiefs every single year. Tennessee at 28, housed by the Commanders. Will Levis got us back some more memes. Didn't play that terrible, but you know, it's Tennessee. Carolina, man, Bryce Young finally had his moment in the NFL, game-winning touchdown drive, and it was stolen away from him. Then potentially game-winning drive in overtime, robbed once again. But you know what? It is what it is. That's life for you. Anyway, Dallas, 26, looking better with Cooper Rush, honestly, at quarterback. I think he's going to be okay the rest of the season. Maybe they make a push, the Cowboys. I don't think so. The Jets, they're the Jets, everybody. They are still the Jets. The New Orleans Saints at 24. Thought they were competitive in this game. Taysom Hill now out for the season, and the offense is terrible once Taysom Hill goes out. Had a knee injury. Sucks for him. The Rizzler, probably not going to be back as the head coach next year, but he's been a fun interim guy for them. And finally, 23, the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, all over the place. He's up and down, but gets the game-winning touchdown drive and the go-ahead 2-point conversion to lock up a dub against the Patriots. But let's go into our next set of teams, the middle-tier teams, teams 22 through 16. Okay, I'm going to put the Browns at 22. What a Jameis Winston performance going on Monday night. Like 500 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, 2 pick sixes, kind of the whole game. Just pure Jameis Winston fun for them. San Francisco at 21. This is the season for hell from the 49ers officially. They look terrible. They're injured everywhere. It's just bad news there. The Bears at 20. I'm actually putting the Bears up a spot because they finally fired Matt Eberflus. So now the Bears are instantly better with that. You can't get much worse than Matt Eberflus. Falcons at 19. Kirk Cousins looks old. He looks washed. Potentially they could be moving to Michael Penix, but they are still in first place in the NFC South. They do own the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay, but revenge game maybe for Kirk in Minnesota this weekend? Probably not. Miami, they're frauds. We knew it. Cold weather, Green Bay. Tua actually threw a shit ton of yards in this game and wasn't a disaster, but they started off slow. They got behind. Everything was in garbage time. Miami kind of showing what they are. The Bengals, Joe Burrow is easily like the MVP of this season if we're voting on strictly who the most valuable player to their team is. Because Joe Burrow, the Bengals would be not have won a game. There would be no wins. Not a win team without Joe Burrow as their quarterback. His numbers are out of this world, but has a couple turnovers this weekend. Cost them. This defense is so bad in Cincinnati. And Rams at 16, you know, they struggle and get shut out in the first half against the Saints. Bounce back. Puka Nacua has a touchdown grab. They kind of wrap that thing up. Kyron Williams had a nice day, over 100 yards, gets back into the end zone. Rams defense, Jared Verse going to be the rookie of the year on defense, it looks like. So, but they're still hanging around there. They're right there in the thick of that NFC West playoff picture. But let's get into it. What you guys came here for, my top 15 teams. All right, at 15, I got the Arizona Cardinals. Losers of 2 straight now, and they really got to be sick that they lost this game to Minnesota. Dominated it for large portions of this game. They dominated time of possession. They dominated yardage, but they were 1 for 6 in the red zone. The red zone has continued to bite them over the last 3 games or so. They did manage, to win one of those before the bye, but last 2 weeks, they've been dreadful in the red zone. Kyler Murray, I thought, was really good. I thought the game plan was excellent on defense from Jonathan Gannon, but they fell apart down the stretch there. Maybe should have went for it, had 4th and goal at the 5 opted for the field goal to go up 6, but this is still a very talented team. I think Arizona's got the entire season riding on the line this weekend. They got Seattle coming to the desert this week, but I think they're going to be in for a nice performance again. Trey McBride has been an absolute stud for them. No receiving touchdowns on the year, but he's clearly their best offensive weapon, or at least their most reliable. Another 100-yard game for him out there. Marvin Harrison Jr. had that one touchdown for the Cardinals. It was good to see him get back in there, but I still just don't think they target him enough. It's kind of a lot of short check down stuff. Defense kind of plays way above their talent, and they're going to be good, I think. But yeah, it was just a really disappointing loss for this Cardinals team. We're going to keep them here at 15, though. Okay, at 14, I got the Seattle Seahawks. Really nice win for Geno Smith and the Seahawks. They were down 21-7. They looked like they were dead in the first half in this game. Their special teams just completely imploded on them. They gave up a kick return for a touchdown. They muffed the kickoff right after that. But Leonard Williams to the rescue, a 90-plus yard pick six, swung this game back around. And you know what? The Seahawks, when they need to go move the football, it feels like they can. They just kind of move the chains, get points when they have to absolutely get them. The defense pitches a shutout in the second half. They shut down this Jets offense. Now, I do have concerns. They cannot block anyone in Seattle. I mean, this offensive line is atrocious, and they can't get a running game going. We got a little bit of sprinkle of Charbonnet in there. Kenneth Walker really didn't do too much. This team should be running for 100-plus yards a game with Kenneth Walker. He's just that good of a running back. That just goes to show you how bad this offensive line is, because Geno's having to throw the ball a lot, and he's doing a pretty good job with it. Jackson Smith and Jigba has come on. DK Metcalf still working himself back from injury, but I like the Seattle team. I think their defense has been improving. They're starting to figure some things out. They've been excellent against the run the last 2 weeks, but this is a big one. Win this game in Arizona this weekend, and you're probably walking away with a division title. So Seahawks here at number 14. All right, Houston here at 13. Kind of a ugly Houston Texans game. Once again, Joe Mixon over 100 yards and a touchdown. CJ Stroud, decent game from him. You know, Nico Collins over 100 yards receiving. So they're getting a little bit back into the swing of the things, but they still seem to struggle against inferior opponents week in and week out. I don't like their play calling really whatsoever. I don't think they are poking and prodding in the right ways, especially in the second half against teams. I think they abandon the run a little bit too quickly sometimes, but they do find their ways and get back into it. Defense did a decent job. Now, Azeez Al-Shaair is getting suspended probably for a good chunk of time, because that was just nonsense. Also, D'Amico Ryan's doubling down and saying there was nothing wrong with that. Not a great look, my guy. Not a great look. But the Texans are going to win the NFC South more than likely. They have a nice lead in the division. They've already beaten Indianapolis twice, so they're going to be hosting a playoff game for them. But it just feels like a lot of concerns on this team. They're not very good in the secondary. They really only have a good pass rush is their only way to stop teams, and the offense can get bogged down and stalled out time in and time out in halves in particular. Like, they can just get shut down for entire half. So they got to get this thing figured out here. But again, only a second year for CJ Stroud. Maybe the expectations were a little bit too high for this team and that guy. But heck, Texans here at 13, gonna win this division, no problem. Okay, Broncos here at 12. They keep winning football games. They are now 8-5 on the season. They got the bye coming up this week, but who have the Broncos really beaten? They've beaten the Raiders twice. They've beaten the Saints with Dennis Allen. They beat the Panthers. They beat the terrible Falcons. They beat the Jets. I mean, there's like not a lot of big wins in there. They beat now Cleveland. Now Cleveland's making me looking a little bit better. They're one good win at Tampa Bay, but that was after Tampa Bay beat the Lions. And the Lions are the team, like, you play the Lions, you lose the next week, because they just kind of take that out of you. So I still got a lot of question marks about this team, but again, they're way over their win total. Bo Nix is doing a really decent job out there. Had a couple of rookie picks tonight, or bad throws out there, but a couple of great throws as well. So he's developing there. This team cannot run the football. It's got to be mind-bogglingly frustrating how inept this team is at running the football, but they get the running backs into the end zone, but they can't like just stay in a run game. It's all quick, short passes and then trying to hit them on the play action, but I don't know why anybody would fall for that play action. But the defense was the hallmark of this team, and they were atrocious tonight. They got carved up by the Browns. Jerry Jeudy going for 235. Jameis Winston throwing for like 500 yards, but Two big pick sixes to get them out of this mess. So Denver keeps winning football games. I'm going to keep not believing in them until they get in, and they're definitely going to make the playoffs, I think. I mean, maybe Indianapolis can make a push, but I think it's going to be the Broncos in the first round, probably going to Buffalo or Kansas City. So maybe they get that win against the Chiefs this time. Broncos here at 12. Okay, at 11, I got the Buccaneers, and you know what? It was a tough game. They had no business winning this game. Baker comes down with a big drive, bad ankle and all, gets the game-tying field goal. They probably should have lost in overtime, but they made plays. They got the dubs. Now, I'm not going to dock them too much. Carolina is much better than what Carolina has been, obviously, but really the heart and soul of this team right now is the running game. Bucky Irving has come on as a monster out there. I knew Bucky Irving was good. I didn't know Bucky Irving was going to be this good. Him and Rachaad White are a great 1-2 tandem. They are really making life hell for opposing defenses. And we got my man Mike Evans back out there. He gets over 100 yards receiving, has an excellent touchdown grab. And Baker Mayfield just kind of doing all the right stuff, making plays, trying to win football games. Now he's got the bad ankle now. We'll see how he looks dealing with that. Good thing it's not a serious injury. The defense is a bit of a concern. This secondary is not very good. They're pretty good in the run game, though. They are a little hot and cold, but they've been good the last few weeks. The secondary is just kind of bad, and that's going to hurt them, but their schedule is super, super soft down the stretch. Atlanta is melting right before their eyes. I think Tampa Bay is the team I'd be betting on to win this NFC South, and they're not going to have a terrible matchup. They're going to get Minnesota in round one, potentially, maybe Green Bay. Just depends how the top of the NFC shakes out. At home, not the worst case scenario if you're the Buccaneers, but I do think there's a legitimate chance that an 8-9 team could win this division once again for like the third straight year. All I know is it'll be the first time in NFL history that numbers happen. So Buccaneers here at number 11. Okay, I'm actually going to drop the Chargers down a spot to number 10. They pick up a nice win on the road, cross country in Atlanta, coming off a bye. But this was really just a defensive-led performance. The defense kind of did everything for them. Picked off Kirk Cousins 4 times. They had a pick 6. The offense could only manage 10 points then. They won this game 17-13, 17-14, whatever it was, the final. So offense couldn't get anything going, and that's my biggest concern. J.K. Dobbins now on the IR, and Gus Edwards, Kamani Vidal, and Hassan Haskins, or whoever the hell else they're running out there, just can't get it done. They don't have that kind of fit to them. There's no big explosive plays anymore. Teams are not afraid of them running, and they're getting behind in the sticks, and they're forcing Herbert and the offense to throw the ball. And look, Herbert can throw the football with the best of them, but his best guy is Lat McConkey, who's just a rookie. And Lat McConkey's been awesome, man. Over 100 yards. Again, he's your leading receiver, but you got Quentin Johnson, who is like coin flip if he's going to catch a football or get open or, just quit on life in general. I don't know with Quentin Johnson. I hate Quentin Johnson. But yeah, you just don't know what you're getting from this Chargers offense, and the playmakers aren't just quite there yet. This defense had a nice bounce-back game, but they've been exposed the last couple of weeks prior to this one against high-flying offenses. So I think the Chargers are very vulnerable right now, could slide out of that 6th slot into that 7th slot with Denver, but they're probably safe in making the playoffs in year 1 under Jim Harbaugh. Chargers at 10. Okay, at 9, I got the Washington Commanders. I'm going to bump them up a slot, a drubbing of the Tennessee Titans. Now, things kind of spiraled and avalanched out of control in the first quarter. We had like 2 turnovers by Tennessee right away. They were hitting big plays. It was just kind of a landslide. They jump out, I think, to like 28-0 in this game, and they never really looked back from there. But Jaden Daniels, I was very happy with the way Jaden Daniels looked. He looked like he's feeling a little bit healthier. That rib injury has been clearly bugging him for the last month plus or so. He looked a lot healthier. Brian Robinson had an excellent game on the ground, 100 plus and a touchdown for him. That's nice without Austin Eckler in the lineup. Scary Terry catching a pair of touchdowns. Zach Ertz getting involved in his defense, been good throughout this entire lackluster stretch. It's really been on the offense, and this team really needed this get-right game for them. Offense looks so much better. We've been worried about the Cliff Kingsbury offenses in the second half of seasons, and I think it's really like a healthy Brian Robinson. When Brian Robinson is healthy, they can run the football really well, and that's the primary bread and butter of this offense, and then you can establish the play-action passing game off of that, and then Jaden Daniels can get things cooking a little bit with his legs too, if you want to go with that. So I think Washington's in a really good spot. Maybe they're the one vulnerable team in the NFC to fall out of this wild card spot, but I think they're probably in Commanders here at number 9. Okay, I got the Packers here at 8. Short week win at home on Thanksgiving against the South Beach Dolphins. So, not really surprised there. Just wasn't, they took care of business there. Nothing overly impressive. I think the big, statement matchup right now is they got the Lions at home this week on Thursday night. What a matchup for them. Jordan Love, still been just not quite as sharp as we saw him down the back end of the stretch. He's kind of missing a couple guys. Now, receivers aren't helping him out either. They're dropping the football. Still a little bit more turnover happy than I'd like for him. Josh Jacobs has done a really good job establishing the run game with this team. The defense has been feast or famine in recent weeks. Like, they give up a lot of yards, but they still turn people over like nobody's business. So this is going to be the true barometer. I'm waiting for the Packers to kind of burst onto the scene like they did last year. People are hyping them up as that Super Bowl team, but if they lose this week to Detroit, the division is out of their reach for sure now, with 2 losses to the Lions, probably going in the 6th seed then, and then, road game at, maybe Philadelphia. No, Philly's going to be the 7th seed, so like road game at the Falcons or the Buccaneers, maybe the NFC West winner, which isn't the worst matchup for them, but still, Green Bay feels like a team you'll want to be playing at home. Packers here at number 8. Okay, maybe the most disappointing team right now, the Baltimore Ravens. It's not that they lost to the Eagles. It's kind of how they lost to the Eagles. Another lackluster offensive performance. Now, I know Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals and an extra point, but he missed a couple of long field goals. The offense struggled to move the ball for good chunks of this game. I was really more impressed with the defense early on. The Eagles went like 75 minutes without picking up a first down in real time. They couldn't move the sticks. Jalen Hurts only completed 11 passes against them, and they still lost this game pretty comfortably. The Eagles pretty much took care of business in the second half. Saquon Barkley busted off a couple big runs, but the offense, they kind of stuck with Henry, but not really enough. We knew this was going to be a slog for them to move the football. Zay Flowers was okay, and it just felt like Lamar was all alone back there, kind of running around for his life, flipping it up. Mark Andrews is back. That's really nice, but it feels like there's no identity to this team. The defense is kind of mediocre. The kicking game is atrocious. The special teams is so bad on this team. There's really only one guy reliable that can catch the football out there that's a wide receiver. I mean, you can maybe say 1.5, Mark Andrews out there. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, 1.5, 3.7, a 7.5, whatever it is. There's just not 2 guys out there, it doesn't feel like. Rashad Bateman goes out with an injury. Nelson Aguilar drops a big pass. It's just... This is all on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's just not that kind of drop-back passer. He's just not that guy. We've seen this time in and time out. Everything's kind of wrong with Baltimore. They're probably not going to win this division, but if you told me the Baltimore Ravens going to run and made it to the Super Bowl, I would 1,000% believe it. It's like the talent is all there. It's just kind of all out of whack right now. Give me the Ravens at 7, but I'm kind of disappointed with them so far. All right, let's keep the Steelers here at 6. Man, Pittsburgh, what an offensive performance. 44 points for the Steelers. Did anybody think that was possible with Russell Wilson at quarterback? I know they scored on defense. I know they had quite a few turnovers, but Russell Wilson threw for 414, over 400 yards passing. Russell Wilson looked like he was out of the league. The Broncos are paying $50 million for him not to be on this team, and I know it's the Bengals defense, which is, the worst. But still, 414 yards passing. Great day from Russell Wilson. Najee Harris had a really nice day as well. George Pickens doing George Pickens things, catching touchdowns, getting unsportsmanlike penalties. That's the George Pickens way, baby. Defense, a little bit concerning there. They gave up some points and some yards against Joe Burrow, but forced a lot of turnovers, scored a couple of times on defense. So they scored once on defense, but they forced 5 turnovers, I think. So it was a really good day for their Steelers team all around. And they needed that bounce back after that loss at Cleveland and redemption. They're going to get Cleveland this week in Pittsburgh. I think the Steelers are really scary. Probably going to be that they're going to win that division, I think. So probably your 3 seed in the AFC. And that's not a fun place to play with that defense. They got just guys everywhere, it seems like. Now, when you look at the quarterbacks, is Russell Wilson going to be able to compete with the Josh Allen types? Josh Allen's, Patrick Mahomes, even Lamar Jackson. I mean, I know they already beat the Ravens, but it still was kind of an ugly game once again. So Steelers are a really good team. Mike Tomlin definitely should be in talks for Coach of the Year, but is the quarterback ultimately going to hold this team back? I got the Steelers here at 6. All right, speaking of teams that you maybe worry about the quarterback in the playoffs, my Vikings here at number 5. Look, it wasn't a pretty game. They played really bad, I think, for 3/4 of that game against Arizona. but they found a way to win the football game, and that's what matters most. When you look at these teams, especially this late into the season, I don't really care about how you win. I want to see you win football games, and that's what the Vikings ended up doing. Sam Darnold did nothing for 3 quarters of this game, 3 straight scoring drives in the second half when he needed it, including the game-winning touchdown to Aaron Jones, bounced back from an early fumble. And the Vikings defense is the story. #1 red zone defense in football. They are stopping teams. They are holding them to field goals that allow this offense, when they start slow, to get back into it, put up touchdowns, and win football games. They also have a turnover in every single game. I think they're one of only 2 teams to have that right now. So this is a team led by their defense, but with all the offensive weapons in the world. And Sam Darnold has been absolutely dealing the last 3 games. If you take out the first half against Arizona and you look at the last 10 quarters right there, he's been lights out. 7 touchdowns, I think 8 total, no interceptions, over 800 yards passing. So he's been lights out when they've needed him. But the problem is, Detroit Lions still in their division, probably going to be the 5 seed in the NFC. That means they got to go on the road for 3 straight games. I don't know if this Vikings team can do it. They don't run the football well enough. They turn the ball over way too much on offense. It's really been Aaron Jones with the fumble issues. But the Vikings are for real. I think they're 4th in DVOA, 5th in DVOA. They're pretty good in point differential. This is not the 2022 fraud Vikings. This is a little bit more of a contender. Vikings here at 5. But I think there's a wide gap between teams 4 and 5. I got the Eagles here at 4. Really nice win going into Baltimore and kind of controlling this game. This defense was lights out. It was like a 2-point game on the scoreboard, but it felt like the Eagles were always going to win this game. Eventually, Saquon was going to break it out. A.J. Brown had a really nice game. Like I said, Jalen Hurts, only 11 completed passes. Had a decent day on the ground. Had his little tush-push touchdown. But Saquon Barkley in the offense, that's all you need going for them. And this defense, oh my goodness gracious. I cannot rave enough about this defense. We knew how good the talent was on this defense. The defensive line, they shut down. It's impossible to run the football against them. They also are getting after the quarterbacks now, but this was one of the worst secondaries in football last year, and now they are easily a top 5 unit. It's amazing what you can do with a couple of good draft picks. Now, they are picking up some injuries like everybody else out there, but Philadelphia, man, they are a scary team. They're 10-2 right now. They're the #2 seed in the NFC, and they're just waiting for the Lions to slip up. They've won 8 in a row. This is a team that kind of turned it around, and Nick Sirianni hasn't screwed it up yet. I'm just waiting for Sirianni to screw this team up because I'm sure he's going to do it, but maybe he doesn't. And if he doesn't do that, the Eagles are a petrifying team to play. They can run the football, they can play defense, and when they have to, they can make plays, still throwing the football. No Devonta Smith again this week. Once he gets out there, him and A.J. Brown together with Saquon, with this defense, it's a really tough beat. Eagles here at 4. And keeping the Chiefs here at 3, like I said, I care more about winning football games than necessarily how you win the football games. Another ugly performance against the Raiders. But I think my biggest concern with this team is this defense has been a lot of bend, don't break in years past, week in and week out. But the last few weeks, they've been a lot of breaking more than bending. They couldn't get the stop against Buffalo. They didn't get a stop against the Panthers. And they really weren't going to get a stop against the Raiders. The Raiders were basically in field goal range again. Get a weird early snap. They fall on the fumble, so that's a fortuitous play. But sometimes it just works that way. Kansas City does have some good mojo working for them. They're 11-1. Okay. They are their record. They should probably be something like 8-5, 8-4. I don't know. But they win games, man. This is the Chiefs. They kind of let you hang around. Every game looks like this. It's going to be a 1-score game. And the Chiefs are probably going to win it. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got Andy Reid. They got Steve Spagnuolo. They got an experienced defense. It don't even matter who their kicker is. They just got a 3rd-string kicker. He makes all his kicks. But they got to get their red zone offense figured out. They struggle way too much in the red zone. They can't run the ball down there. I'm hoping, Isaiah Pacheco was back this week, but I'm hoping, as he gets healthier, we're able to establish more of a run game with the Chiefs, and they were going to score 7s and not kick 3s because they really have the opportunity to put these teams away early, and they just kind of lollygag around there. Travis Kelce still hanging around. We know what the real push is here. KC's got to keep winning games to stay up with that 1 seed, but does it really matter? They went on the road in the playoffs last year and took care of business. Chiefs here at 3. Okay, at 2, I got the Buffalo Bills still here. Bills take care of business in a fun snow game against the San Francisco 49ers. Look, the Niners are super undermanned. They stood no chance in this game. Buffalo clinches the AFC East already for the 5th straight year. So they aren't really playing for anything besides that 1 seed. That is their only goal. Josh Allen said it in the post game. That's what this team's focused on. And Sean McDermott, what a job he's done with this defense. Completely turned this defense around, a defense that lost a lot of veteran names that maybe weren't putting up the production that we were expecting out of them. We get a whole bunch of new cast of characters, and they've done a great job. And pair that with this Bills offense, Josh Allen is on an MVP tear. Now the pretty significant favorite to be the MVP. He's been lights out, becomes the first quarterback in NFL history to catch, run, and throw a touchdown in the same game. So good for Josh Allen and him. James Cook has a nice day, a big touchdown run. You get Ray Davis involved. And you know what? Keon Coleman's still out there. I just want to see all these pieces all together on offense. I want to see Keon Coleman with Amari Cooper, with Dalton Kincaid, even throw Dawson Knox out there. And of course, Khalil Shakir, who's been awesome to Allen. Allen has something like a 90% completion rate when targeting Shakir. So he's his money go-to guy. Josh Allen, your MVP right now. The Bills playing lights out football, but we know what the ultimate question is. Are they going to be able to get it done against the Chiefs in January? Bills at number 2. Okay, and finally, we're going to keep the Lions here at number 1. Looked ugly against the Chicago Bears, and if the Bears didn't bear it up, they probably go to overtime in that game. But you know what? Detroit, what'd I say? Win football games. My biggest concern with the Lions are now they're starting to seriously rack up the injuries on this defense. This was already a defensive unit that was the weakest part of the team, but they were playing good. They were getting leads on people on offense, and the defense was able to tee off, get after quarterbacks. They know teams have to throw the football against them, so they can't get a run game going. They're now seriously banged up in their front 7. I'm going to be interested to see what that impact is on the Lions, because I think the defense might be at a breaking point now, but this offense is really, really good. They can run the football. We got Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta back there with 2 touchdowns, and Jared Goff. If you can keep Goff protected in that pocket, not under duress, he will light your ass up. I think that's probably the biggest thing here is if you can protect Goff, you can establish the run game, this defense is going to be able to hold up. The Lions are still first place in the NFC, but they really can't slip up right now. Tough make it or break it games coming up. They got at Green Bay coming up, and they got the Bills coming. I think they're at Buffalo too, coming up in 2 weeks. So really, really tough games coming up for the Lions here. We're going to see how legit everybody is as this thing shakes out, but I still got the Lions here at number 1. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Go on. I love going back and forth with you guys in the comments. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video. Hit that thumbs up and that subscribe. We got daily sports content for you guys. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. We're kind of pushing out channel memberships a little bit more. You get an exclusive video every Friday now. We're going to try and roll that out, talking about my bets for the NFL slate of games. Plus, you get all sorts of cool badges and emojis, things to use for our vertical live streams throughout the year. Again, if you want to check out one of your teams in person, head on over to SeatGeek. That's SeatGeek.com. Use code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. That's SeatGeek.com. Code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.